Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Is this on? Yes, it is. Today I want to talk about narcolepsy. I was diagnosed back in September with narcolepsy. I was dealing with a lot of sleep issues where I wasn't waking up feeling refreshed no matter how much sleep I got. So I decided to go to a sleep doctor and get a sleep test. And that was how I was diagnosed with narcolepsy. Narcoleptic patients lack a chemical in their brain called hypocretin. Yes, I was right. And hypocretin, sorry, helps people stay awake. So narcoleptic patients have less of this chemical in their brain. A few symptoms that people can experience are the obvious one, which is daytime sleepiness. Now, everyone is going to say, I have that. I might be narcoleptic. Well, this kind of daytime sleepiness is uncontrollable. It's uncontrollable where you can't function. You need to lay down immediately. It's like eating 10 turkeys. That's how drowsy your brain gets, and that's how tired your body gets. Most people can go about their day. It's really tough for someone with narcolepsy to continue to do something effectively when they are sleepy. Some of the symptoms of narcolepsy include cataplexy, which is the loss of muscle tone. It's basically weakness. So it's it's triggered by strong emotions usually, so excitement, laughter. When you laugh so hard, or like you're really angry and you're screaming at someone, and right after you feel very, very tired. That's what cataplexy is. You can also get hypogogic, which is a type of hallucination that occurs in the state of falling asleep. So it's right before you're about to fall asleep, at that state of drowsiness where you can experience hallucinations through feelings, sight, even sounds. And then you have other hallucinations in that state of sleep and wakefulness too. Last but not least, somnolence, which is drowsiness. Only 1 out of 2,000 people in the US are diagnosed, and a lot of people are not diagnosed at all. And usually, people are diagnosed during adolescence because the hormones tend to change and affect their sleep. So that's usually the age you get diagnosed. Me, however, I was diagnosed at 35. Looking back, it just makes total sense because I could literally, and I still can, sleep anywhere. I would sleep, like, be dead during nap time in school. And usually, kids are not napping, which brings me to another point. Kids often don't get diagnosed with sleep disorders until they get older because parents will not complain if a kid is sleepy. So that's why I went all my life not being diagnosed. And people also thought it was because of my lupus, which you can get fatigue from. But that is not the case. Narcolepsy is also an autoimmune disease. What happens with autoimmune diseases, we tend to get more than one. Another symptom I forgot to mention is sleep paralysis, where you're just so sleepy, you're in this deep state of sleep and you cannot move. A lot of narcoleptic people don't even get into that REM sleep cycle. They're kind of like half awake, half asleep. One of my symptoms was waking up and not feeling refreshed, or falling asleep for like 4 hours and waking up just completely awake, but not necessarily rested. So another symptom of narcolepsy that people can experience is scattered sleep patterns, where and this happens at night too. This happens at night, and then a side effect of that is daytime sleepiness. So just because you're narcoleptic doesn't mean you're getting good nighttime sleep. So how was I diagnosed? But basically, you go into a sleep clinic, and the one that I went into they made it look like a hotel room to make you feel more comfortable so that you're able to fall asleep easier. My room looked like a hotel room. It was really, really cool. And the building was actually owned by a hotel and then donated to the sleep clinic. They hooked my head up with all sorts of wires, and then I believe I had some on my chest. So I was hooked up to this. I was hooked up to a machine, and the first thing they wanted to roll out was sleep apnea, because sleep apnea is way more common. With sleep apnea, they're just seeing if you're breathing while you're sleeping, or if you stop breathing. And I didn't have sleep apnea at all. With narcolepsy, for the test at least, what they do is they make you take 15-minute naps. And they have to be 2 hours apart. So there's 4 to 5 naps, 2 hours apart. The first test is a sleep apnea where they monitor you for the whole night. And then the next morning, if you don't have sleep apnea, they go ahead and test you for the narcolepsy. And that's when they do the napping. Usually with narcoleptic patients, we tend to fall asleep within the first 3 to 5 minutes of the 15 minutes, and we go into REM sleep. My average was 3 minutes, but I didn't always go into REM. There was one that I actually fell asleep within 30 seconds, which is crazy. And for those of you who don't know, REM is rapid eye movement. That is the stage you want to be in, where your body and your brain are actually sleeping. I have experienced like not being able to get into REM, where I'm just kind of, like I said, in this meditative sleep, but it's frustrating at night when you know you're supposed to be sleeping, and each hour is going by and you're not getting there until about 3 or 4 in the morning. But then again, I also mentioned that I would fall asleep and usually wake up around 3 or 4 in the morning and can't go back to sleep. So I would get up and just start my day. So that often happens at least 1 to 2 times a week. Okay, so how is narcolepsy treated? So one of the things that has helped me is to not only have a regular sleep schedule, but sleep a little bit later. I know, like, I talk about being sleeping early, but I think what's most important is having a sleep schedule where you're going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time. Diet: narcoleptic patients are advised to eat high protein diets and less carbs. So carbs really make us crash. Carbs, sugars, because it spikes up your blood sugar and then you crash immediately like a child. They put me on a very strong medicine, and unfortunately with narcolepsy, if you go towards the medication route, you only really have two choices. You can either take a stimulant during the day to keep you awake, and that doesn't really help your scattered sleep patterns at night, or you can take a sedative at night, but it's not going to really help you. Well, the hope is that you wake up refreshed and you won't be so sleepy during the day. So I opted for the sedative because I've been on stimulants and I don't like how, it makes me crash, and it also doesn't make me feel hungry, and I'm trying to gain weight. So I went with the sedative. It's disgusting. After a week or two, you're supposed to go up on the dose until you hit the maximum dose for your weight and your age. I think it actually goes by age. The number one side effect is nausea. Now, when I took that first time, I was I so nauseous and so drowsy. I could not get up. I had to crawl to the bathroom to throw up, and then I couldn't get back into bed, and I just laid on the floor until I was awake enough to get back into bed. It was horrible. And what they advise is you separate the dose. So you take half of it before you get to bed, and then 4 hours later take the other half, and they give you a free alarm to wake you up to take the other half. What ended up happening is I had to go down on the dose so that my stomach would agree with the medication. Needless to say, at some point, because I couldn't go up on the dose because it made me so sick in my stomach, it started losing effect and I wasn't falling asleep the rest of the night. I was waking up, you know, 3, 4 hours later. It just wasn't helpful at all. So I stopped taking it. And then I decided to try a stimulant, and the stimulant was okay, but I also like didn't want to add another medication to my list of medications. I started taking melatonin gummies, which I had the pleasure of working with the brand to get, and I really like the gummies. There's no side effects. It helps me fall asleep. It helps me stay asleep for the most part. And also exercising. Exercising really helps me, tire my body out, and so I can have a deeper sleep. Now, I'm not saying that my sleep has been perfect, but it has improved a lot. Another thing that I also do is meditate for 15 minutes before bed. There is no cure for narcolepsy. The symptoms don't get worse as you get older, but they also don't go away completely. So it's something that someone has to get used to and find ways to deal with it on a daily basis. The medication actually helps a lot of people, and supposedly it has changed lives. I will probably not be trying it again. I think it tastes disgusting and it doesn't make me feel good. So I am going to go the natural route. Speaking of natural route, in Ayurvedic medicine, they advise you to drink milk with cardamom and cinnamon. I want to say nutmeg too, with some warm milk, and that is supposed to be like a natural um, sedative to help you fall asleep. There are so many other foods, like if you're someone dealing with narcolepsy or even sleep issues and you want to go the natural route, there's so many foods that help you, that have like natural melatonin and natural ingredients in there to help you fall asleep. For instance, cherries is a good one, bananas is a good one. So do your research and yeah, try these tricks. Also, this is for everybody. Everyone should be turning off their screens 1 to 2 hours before bed. Looking at screens before sleep has not helped anybody. I encourage you to put the screens down. They're going to be there when you wake up, and you're going to sleep so much better. Thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions or comments about narcolepsy, if you are dealing with narcolepsy or sleep issues and you have found remedies that you'd like to share, please comment down below. I'd love to see them. We'd all love to see them. And thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.